Welcome to the Conscious Radio Network, where curiosity meets conversation. Get enlightened and have fun. Share the experience with friends, family, and anyone ready for thought-provoking dialogue. You can watch our shows on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, or connect with us on X, Instagram, and TikTok. Our podcasts are also available on Libsyn, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other major platforms. Be sure to visit our official website at consciousradionetwork.com for past episodes, upcoming shows, and guest scheduling. And to our listeners around the cosmos, welcome. We're glad you're here. Subscribe, follow, and join the community.
This is the Conscious Radio Network.
Good day, everybody, wherever you might be on the spaceship we call Earth. In that opening, it should be, instead of international audience, it should be galactic audience. And we're going to talk about that today. Welcome to the Conscious Radio Network's A Seance Podcast. I'm your host, Reverend Doc Mekas. This is your first time tuning in. Please click like, subscribe, comment, and don't forget to follow wherever you listen to your podcasts. Today, our guest is Dr. Scott Guerin, an award-winning author, educator, and expert in human development with over 2 decades teaching psychology and deep passion for exploring the divine. Dr. Guerin bridges the gap between science, spirituality, and the mysteries of the universe. His latest book, Awkward Awakenings, Finding Your Way Home, dives into our spiritual nature, galactic roots, and contact with higher intelligence. Let's welcome to the show for the first time, Dr. Guerin.
Thank you, everyone.
You're very welcome. So this is going to be a very interesting episode today. So the title of this episode and the book, which we'll get into, Awkward Awakening, Finding Your Way Home. What does this mean, and how is it relevant today?
Okay, the first impetus of this book came when I was on my own spiritual journey, and I finished a book looking for angels 2 years ago, which kind of really jump-started my robust relationship with the spirit world, angels, and past loved ones, etc. And then I was looking for it because of that. It opened my mind up. So then it's okay. Something's going on in the world today. You know, what's happening and where are we going? And those are the two questions. Because you look at the news and world events, and certainly something's happening. Yeah. And you can see, okay, fine. I'm not that attuned to astrology. But somebody said, look at Pluto entering Aquarius. And that could be a bit. So I looked into that and like, okay, every 250 years, it comes in, and what happens? Revolutions. So You look back 250 years from now, and you had the Protestant or the American French Revolution, Industrial Revolution. Look 250 years beyond that, more turmoil type of things. And then I started digging in and found other indicators of a big change coming. With the coming out of the Kali Yuga, which I'm sure you know about, the end of the Mayan calendar, all these things point to this new Earth, Ascension. And then that's even discounting the 20 or so metaphysicians, intuitives, astrologers saying, yeah, duh, what's happening? And then the biggest thing happened when I was listening to a podcast with Rachel Corpus. She's an angel communicator and works with angels all the time with her clients, and another friend of mine who was hosting the show. And they were talking in depth about this ascension and what's happening. And yes, it's happening. The Earth, Gaia, has attempted to move out of the third dimension into the fourth and fifth other times, but it's not worked out. But this time is different because, and I don't know how it works, but it's written in stone. It's like the collective consciousness of Earth is, we're there, we're done. Celebrate. And it's like building a house. You find a lot, you get all the contract, you get the money, you sign the contract, it's done. It just has to be built. So that really got me going. Yeah, this is a real thing. And then just my background in psychology and human development specifically, with a focus on spiritual development. I spent years learning how people change and how they grow and develop, both individually and societally. And then I start piecing together things. And I'm like, yeah, this is a big thing happening. And then I just apply all the things I learned. Humans don't like change, bottom line.
Nope.
And so the change model that's most prevalent out there is based on Kubler-Ross's stages of grief. And what's the first step is denial. So that's what we have coming here in George Bernard Shaw's wonderful statement, all great truths begin as blasphemy. And that just has reverberated throughout history. And so I feel I had a very strong drive to help, to provide a help for people who are in this shift, in this change. They're coming out of organized religion. Maybe they grew up and they don't go anymore, or maybe they never were, but they're sensing a spiritual tug. But they may be afraid because if they had a religious background, they need a minister, they need a priest, a sake to tell them what's up. And the part of the awakening is a direct connection. And so you have to, I think, help people take baby steps to say, it's okay. You are a sovereign person. You are part of the divine. Newsflash, major difference from many organized religions and heretical in many cases. Again, I take them through, hey, it's okay. Embedded in all the world's religions is a oneness, is the divine connection we have.
Yeah.
But in practice, over the decades, it's gone to separation. And maybe because we're in the third dimensional separation environment, it's just a natural fit. God's up there, we're down here, and maybe we'll meet someday. So that was my big thing, is to say, okay, what's happening? And then what are the natural human responses to it? And that's what the awkward part is. And then hopefully highlighting that with people can help them and others in their lives to say, yeah, it's a bit awkward, it's new, and our DNA says it's to be fear-based, to be afraid of anything new, and to resist it. And so that's the whole crux of the book right there.
Yeah. And it seems too that with all the people that I've been having conversations with, either on the show here or out there, that people aren't necessarily giving up religion, but they're realizing that the institution that is supporting it is falling apart.
Yeah.
And they're realizing that, I don't want to throw the wrong word, but lack of a better word, is they've been lied to. Been misguided with the representation of it.
Yeah, and I have to say, I don't want to throw religion out of the window.
Yeah,
But there's some wonderful people I've met along the way, and they're really awake and alive and connected, and they're in the religions. But at the same time, you have the scandals, you have the internet where people can go and look and find their own way and all that. So it's not a matter of flat out rejecting it, but maybe saying we've had, I don't want to say the horse and buggy moving to an automobile, but it served a purpose for thousands of years. And now people are looking for something more. And that more is the natural tug that's going on that says, hey, you can connect right now.
Yeah. We're evolving. There's our genetic code, our consciousness is starting to realize, whoa, what I have been practicing or following, I know within me it's not exactly what it was.
Yes. Yeah.
And are starting to learn the higher truths of the religions, the actual word, the hidden truths.
I think that's the thinning of the veil that's naturally happening. And that's what is the exciting part. And that's what's going to bring us out of this. A lot of people say the storm before the calm. That's what we're experiencing now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not to lose heart that, hey, it's a crazy time now. We see a lot of corruption. We see a lot of dark energy. And this one fellow, I don't know if how closely you follow, but Bashar channel.
Oh yeah.
He one example he gave, he says it's like a slingshot. You pull something way back. Now we're getting pulled way back into the darkness, but we're going to get catapulted down to the
Yeah.
front. I'm like, oh, because I wonder how it's going to happen.
The catapult is, now that you mention that, what I'm feeling is a part of that is the technology. It's that we are going to be thrown into another world of AI, because I've got constituents out there, some people out there that I know that have been working with it that we haven't even seen, have even been introduced into the public yet, and it is scary.
Well, yeah, I can certainly see that. I can certainly see
Yeah.
that.
But if we use it correctly, I'd say I was told about maybe another 25, probably not even 20 years, probably within the next 10 years, AI is going to be everywhere. It's going to be everything and everywhere, but it's how we use it is determines how dependent we are going to be of it.
Yeah. We might get help. We might get help from that, in my perspective, and from what you hear. And that's the part of the book I get into, is just the whole idea of channeling. Like, where do we get our information from? In the past, it's authority. It's from the ministers. It's from this, whoever. But now, if we turn intuitively, internally, then we have information coming to us from others, from spirit, from other sources. And I try and desensitize that, oh my God, feeling for that friend of mine who's a lifelong Catholic. Like the minute he sees the word intuitive or channeling, he's out the door.
Yeah.
But you say, hey, the Apostle Paul wrote half of the New Testament. And he said how he did it? How did he say? He said it was God breathed. That's the Greek word. And that's what channeling is. And so then I go into a lot of modern day channelers, but at the same time say, I didn't just look on TikTok to find out the latest person on. No, all the ones that I have in the book, 15 of them, have been channeling a entity, a celestial divine body being, or an ET, not for 1 or 2 years, no, for 20, 30 years. And they've all been writing books about this for years. And so I say, at least to help people step away, step outside, but feel a little confident that there is a lot of information out there you can now explore if you have the most important 2 words, an open mind.
Yeah.
But once you do, you can it'll, for some people, just sucks you in. I never knew this. You look at any of the authors, and there's so many out there with great books about things like that, and about what's happening, and you can get sucked in.
Yeah, when it comes to channeling too, I bring that up. It's people think it's such a taboo thing and that it's new, and I'm like, no. One of the best examples is one of our greatest inventors, Nikola Tesla.
Yes.
He's even admitted in some of his manuscripts that he got this from the stars. He got it from beings off planet, and people probably looked at him like deer in headlights.
Yeah.
But I'm sure many of the greatest influencers of society throughout history would have the same thing if they were alive today to tell their story.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. And then certainly all the indigenous tribes, you talk to American Indians, they all know. They know that they came from the stars, and many of them were taught by them. And then the other question comes up, how do you know if you're talking, who you're talking with, and could it be an evil spirit, and could it be bad for you? That's why I'm not doing it. I go, oh, really? What about organized religion? Was that all perfect along the way? No. You have to use discernment. We are sovereign beings. We can do this on our own and figure it out and know and feel our way safely. If you take that on.
So before we go any further, for those who are watching can see your website on the banner below, but I'll let you tell where people can find you online and what they can expect when they go to your website.
Yeah, it's angelandtraining.org, and it has a brief background of what I've been doing and really highlights my books. I have 4 books over the years. The first 2 were just about my spiritual journey. The last one 2 years ago was Looking for Angels, all about angels. And then this one here. And then it has a lot of the past podcasts I've been on and some articles. So that's the best way. And then on there now, actually for this audience, if you want, you could get a signed copy only through the website that has it. If you put the promo code Awakening, you can get a signed copy for $5 off.
Cool.
But otherwise, my books are all on Amazon, audio book, ebook, hardcover, paperback.
Cool. And I'll bring that up on the screen again for those who are watching can actually see the cover. That way, when you're looking, you know what to look for.
Yeah. Thank you.
Most people are visual. I'm a visual person. I'd be like, what did that look like? I'm good with faces, but not with names.
Oh, tell me about it. Some embarrassing things like I knew everything about this person, everything about her. Anyway. And then she asked me something and I said, "Oh, how's your family doing? There's some sicknesses." She said, "Oh, okay. Thank you so much for remembering." I go, "Okay, Sally." She goes, "My name isn't Sally." I remembered this whole thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so segue there.
So let's get into these extraterrestrials, outworldly entities that you have been in contact with or have been talking with over the years. When did that start and now with it?
Actually, earlier today, I listened to the episode with, was it Diane Devine?
Oh.
And you were telling her about, and the listeners, about how you got going, how you got started with your book. I guess your last book, or maybe, and I'm like, that it's so funny because it's very similar. It was like very similar. I had a Akashic record reading for the first time. I hadn't had one before. And in that reading, I was told you're going to write a book and it's going to be about awakening. And I'm like, okay, fine. I'm down with that. My whole life, I've been looking at the shift and this and growing. And then her last statement was about the book. She said, "Oh, it's going to be galactic in nature."
Nice.
And I'm like, what the heck does that mean? Because I wasn't into this at all. No, well, somewhat, but not really deep dive. And it also was told at that time, you're going to go to Egypt, and that's where it's all going to start in Egypt. And that's exactly what happened. But just the connections and a lot of stuff. And in the trip I took through the Gaia organization, Eric von Daniken was there, the author of Chariots of God.
I got the original.
Oh, really?
That was published in the 60s. Yes.
Oh,
yes. It's like,
what a pistol he is at 90, man. He does not stop. But in any case, and so that kind of also fueled the ET connection with the ancient Egyptians and the temple of Hathor with the Hathor sisters and the Pleiadians. And it just so spurred me to go on with that. And then through different contacts and friends, I started learning more and more about our galactic family.
Yeah.
And that you can touch base with them. You can make connections with them. And matter of fact, we probably all have had some connection to some extent already. Most of that connection and communication occurs at the subconscious level. And that was a big a thing for me. It was like, wow, just learning how to connect with them. And then about 4 months before I even started the book, which was a year ago, I was listening to a podcast with someone who was a witch. She's like, "Hey, I'm a witch. I'm a Wiccan, whatever you want to call it. I have all these divination tools." And she was talking about dark spirits that aren't really dark, but they've been painted dark by the organized religions because they're afraid. And she mentioned scrying. And I'm like, scrying. It's light a candle, put it in front of a mirror, and then just gaze into your eyes in a darkened room, and you can just go with whatever happens.
Yeah.
And most times it's writing. So for me, I just started writing, and it was one-sided. This conversation just came through, and it was all positive, very fun. Like, "Scott, we're so glad you're here. We're so excited about the book and the trip," and all this stuff was coming through. We're very positive. And then after about 3 weeks, I'm like, who is this? And I couldn't they just came. And I knew it was a they, and it was many. And so then I'm like, who is this? And then at the end of one session, it says, "We are the Pleiadians." So and then I asked my friend who was very connected to several of the extraterrestrial groups. He goes, yeah. He goes, don't doubt it. He goes, just own it. That's what's happening. Because it's new to me. This stuff is new to me. I know you have some connections, some rope live connections with the spirit world as well. But for me, this is new, and I'm just gaining more and more ground in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then that caused me to say, okay, let's really dive in to how people can make connections if they wanted to. And I have a few chapters in detail looking at that relationship from a psychological point of view, because there's some very important things that need to be addressed as we move forward, both with our divine connection and both with our ET connection.
Yeah, yeah. And there's probably some people out there that the novice, the ones that are starting out, that are like bringing back a little bit of the malevolent forces and the evil forces out there, is how to prevent them from coming through and how to discern whether they're, because I've heard some stories of Lucifer himself coming and appearing as someone or something that is completely benevolent, and then it wasn't until later they found out who it really was. It's whoa.
Wow.
Yeah. How do you go about making sure protecting yourself? You do some prayers beforehand, bringing in the light.
Yeah, in general, that's, to me, I recommend that everybody do that. And I'm a disciplined person, but I don't like to have things like really set out.
Yeah.
I have to do, I'm going to go up and meditate at 9 o'clock every morning. I just don't do that, but I do every morning a grounding. I recommend everybody have some sort of grounding intention, and it could be 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And in those grounding intentions, you set your intentions for the day, and whatever way you want to word it, you ask for protection of all beings, for your highest and best intention for your life, or whatever. There's lots of different ways to put it, but we are protected. The light is it will always overrule darkness. And it's when we invite darkness into our lives intentionally, that's when the trouble starts. Yeah. And this one witch was saying the same thing. I think somebody called in and said, I don't want to do this. It's like, she goes, hey, look, there's evil spirits around you all the time, around everybody. They're all around us. And so we're protected. And if you want to feel better about that, you can certainly put your intentions for prayer and protection. Always pursue the light, always pursue love, always pursue the God and the light workers, and you'll be fine. I hope that answers the question. I had a couple of different things, but basically ask. Just like free will, we have to ask. You ask for protection. Yeah. And then if something goes wrong, you got to go with your discernment. And that's what everybody says in my one chapter about preparing for contact. About, I think, 5 or 6 authors, I put, this is what they say. This is how to approach this. This is what you have to be cautious about. One may say your fears will drive the day. If you're afraid and you start doing things, then you'll bring up things that will make you afraid. If you claim your sovereignty of your divine nature, then you are indestructible. Yeah. So those types of things.
There's something I have to share, because this happened this weekend when you said evil's around us everywhere. It's probably only happened maybe 3 or 4 times that I am conscientious of and actually interacted with it. I was sitting on my back porch. Sun is long gone. It's dark outside. It's nice and cool and peaceful. I just hear some traffic in the background. That's about it. No wind and no nothing. It's no wind whatsoever. And then suddenly I felt this energy come over me. And then the wind started to come in. It's okay. There was something awkward, no pun intended, but yes, there was something awkward about the energy of the wind that was starting to pick up outside. And I knew it was wrong. There was something not right about the wind. It was almost though because I work with Native American spirits, it was almost as though I was one of the Native American spirits came in, who was like a tracker, and he knew. I felt like I was part of him, and it was like, this is not the right wind. This is evil spirits coming.
Right, you sensed that.
Yeah. And as soon as the wind started coming up, I felt the energy come in, the malevolent forces, and I said, get away. You're not welcome. Go. You're not welcome. And I brought the energy, the Christ, the consciousness energy in. Then I said, leave now. Get out. The wind just stopped.
Wow. Yeah.
It's, whoa.
Yeah. And that speaks to your sovereignty and divine nature. You know, what I tell people, if things go really sideways in something, if you don't know what else to do, just pray to whoever your deity, or pray to Jesus, pray to Allah, pray out loud, say it out loud.
Yeah. We need a foundation. And I don't know how many people see, I mean, if you can vouch for this too, is there's so many people out there that do not have a foundational faith. There's no foundational faith to actually fall back on for protection. And I think those are the most vulnerable.
Yeah, probably until they really develop their own connections or relationship with the spirit world. You're open in a sense. And then I think innately people know if they're going into, if they have an addiction, if they're into things that tap into them, drug abuse, substance abuse, sexual addictions, whatever it may be. And if you're going to these places, like, just think about what you're doing.
Yeah.
I had a friend who was in my Christian fellowship group in college, and we got to be pretty good friends. And he goes, Scott, I got something to tell you. I'm like, what? He goes, I have to be in a strip club every day. I have to go every day.
Wow.
And I'm trying to get help. And then I think he already located a sex addiction clinic. But those are the footholds, I think, that, lack of better words, is where you leave yourself open for bad forces. The other day, it was like a week ago. It was in the morning. I woke up and I had a podcast to do in a few hours or something. And I felt afraid. I felt anxious. I felt I can't do this.
Yeah.
And so I just prayed. I prayed, Archangel, my spirit team, please protect me from this. I know you're around me. I feel your wings around me. Guide me through this time. And within an hour, it dissipated and I was good. But it's those types of things. There's no special protocol. I guess that's the thing, like in church, like you need to have the chalice and you need to have the guy do this.
Yeah. Frankincense and myrrh just floating around in the room, all the smoke. Holy water. Yeah. Yeah, it's there's forces out there not to be reckoned with, and those especially ancestors. Have you had any experience with working with your ancestors? Some of the ones that have passed, maybe those you never met that are your ancestors.
I've a couple that it could have been. Great point. There's a couple that I don't know. I'm like, maybe they are. And then somebody said, did you ask them? And I'm like, no, that's a very simple question I could ask. But my parents were the first to come through. Both, they opened the door through a medium. And then I'm like, yeah, okay, that's definitely mom. That's it, mom. Thank you. Yeah. And then now they're here. Now I can access them at any time. And then I do have, why I hadn't done this. There's 2 or 3, not American Indian, but Indian spiritual women that are part of my regular spirit team.
Yeah.
And that's what I got to dig into further, but they're just there. There's a wonderful meditation series by Scott Taylor, who worked with near-death experience cases. He's a psychologist for years, 3,500 cases.
Wow.
And he was analyzing brain waves and what they're going through. And so he developed a series of near-death experience meditations. Not that you get anywhere near that, just so everyone knows. You don't get anywhere near that, but you get into that state, the brainwave with the binaural background.
Yeah, I think that's what theta. I think it might be theta brainwave state.
Yeah, theta, beta, and theta are subconscious, and then delta is unconscious. And then, but he gets you in that, and through the guided meditation, he helps you create a sacred space. If you probably know about this, you create a sacred space where you go, and then you meet your spirit team. And he, for some reason, just he just nailed it for me. I can go to a place and they come in and Jesus is there, my spiritual guides, angels, my parents, like, and we just have a sit down. Sometimes it's a meeting. This is what you got to work on. This is what's going to happen. Sometimes it's just sitting there, just enjoying the love. But so those are good ways to connect.
Wow. What was, so I've got some questions here. Let's see. How do angels and extraterrestrials fit into some of these conversations? Like, as far, especially, I definitely want to get into the extraterrestrial. What if, like, a specific conversation that really struck you? Like, whoa, like, you got some information and you didn't know what to do with it because you're like, okay, what should I write it down or should I,
Yeah, the one that I think the first thing for me was just in my journey, kind of came up with the idea, and I co-author with Looking for Angels. You develop a spirit team. You have a team, and other people have different takes on it, but you have regular entities that you interact with. They may have names, they may not have names. Some of them may have names, and anyway, you get familiar with their energy. They're there, and so you have them as your spirit team. At one point in time, I felt, and it was probably around the time when I identified that I was interacting with Pleiadians, was that they're part of my spirit team, and that they are working with me and with humanity to proceed into light and love, and we're going to call it fifth dimension.
Yeah.
And so they're there, but they're a different feel. I don't know if yourself or have other practitioners, they feel differently. They're a different energy.
Yeah.
Because to me, they feel like a little more crisper, like a little more definitive, where angelic beings are more like softer and deeper, for lack of better words. And that the ancient scriptures, Judeo-Christian Islam, use the same Old Testament, not the same, but similar Old Testament books.
Yeah.
And they describe the creation of the physical world, that the physical world and human beings were created. That was one thing. And then the angelic realm was created like as a separate thing, and a separate group. And they're different. They never were incarnated. They're more, a lot of controversy around it. They're hardwired to source, to God, to love. Like they cannot do anything else but promote love and light.
That's like those that are written down in, was it not the Quran, the Torah, the Elohim or the Nephilim. Seraphim,
the Seraphim. The Nephilims were a little bit there. They came down and created some havoc on the planet. But in any case, so you have the angelic realm and then the rest of us, in a sense. So that's when you say then our galactic family really are our brothers and sisters, because we're the same, not species, but the same category, in a sense. We're created beings. And we're extension of God, as holograms, as fractals. Different, some would say Sasha, Pleiadian female, channeled by Lisa Royal Holt, which I recommend highly to read. Sasha said that they're a constant fifth and sixth dimension all the time, non-physical. The angels are. But the one thing happened, and I've never told this story to anyone before, but one time I was preparing for a podcast, and it was a big deal, and it was 2 years ago, and I was just starting doing podcasts, and I was very nervous. I'm like, please help me, please give me the words, please do whatever. And I had been scrying with the Pleiadians, and I'm like, okay, all right, my mind is going blank. I have to get on and talk in a half an hour. What am I going to do? And so what do I usually do? I write down my point, like a bullet point, like outlines.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, scrying, that usually works. And I could not move my pencil. I could not make one mark on that paper.
Wow.
And so I call up my friend. He was very sensitive, psychic, and communicator. And he was at work. I'm like, hey, I'm supposed to go on. I can't go on. I tried to write it down, and I can't even write a word. And he goes, oh, breathe, just stop. He goes, just stop. He goes, what are you thinking? I said, I'm thinking that they're going to say something, that I need to say something, but I can't figure out what. He goes, you got to just go to the angelic realm. Just in your mind, just shift over.
Yeah.
And so that's why it was the angelic realm was trying to get a message through me, and I was trying to go the ET route. I don't know. It just seems so weird, but I've heard that a few other times where the angelic realm handles some things, a lot of things, and the ETs handle other things relating our life in our planet, that type of thing. So there is a difference that way. And a skilled and experienced channeler will be able to know when, okay, great. All right. ET realm. Thank you. We're going to hand it over to the angelic realm now.
Yeah. I've had some of those moments.
Really? Yeah.
I've had some of those moments, even on this show. I'll just do something like, I don't want to, I can't do the show today. I can't do this recording. There's just something I don't, and it wasn't the topic that the guest was talking about. It was just, I don't know. I just didn't feel it. I wasn't in that energy. And the spirits are going, you got this. You've done it before. You got this.
Yeah.
The same thing happened with, I just came back from a cruise a couple weeks ago, and I had to do a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation. It took months to put it together. And after I completed it the first time, they're like, nope, scrap it. Start over. I'm like, what? It was like your teacher coming up to your desk and tearing your paper up and do it over. So I'm like, oh my God. So I was so nervous doing that presentation. I did many. And I'm going, why do I feel so just high strung of not being able to do this? I tell you what, as much preparation as I didn't, I followed sort of the script.
Yeah, but
I
didn't.
Given. Yeah, I didn't. It was like something just came right in and took over.
Yeah, that's allowing spirit to work through you. Set your ego aside and let it go. Some channelers, they do readings and they're like, I won't remember what we say, so you won't be able to ask any questions.
Yeah.
But another thing on the ET realm that I think is important to note, and Lisa Royal Holt was working, she's been channeling a few different non-physical entities, and certainly Sasha, for many years. And she was moved to come up with a galactic heritage deck. And it's very much like tarot cards. And it was given to her from her non-physical group that she works with, Germaine. And it's meant to clarify, point out, and help us in our personal journeys that we're going through. But the way that it ties into the journeys that our galactic neighbors and family have been through. Many of the civilizations, the Lyrians, the Arcturians, the Sirians, the Pleiadians, they're all 100 million, 500 million years old, right? Mm-hmm. They've been in what Earth is going through right now, many times, and that's why they're here to help. And so I started learning that I got the deck, get on Amazon, but it's really great for those of you who are into tarot card reading or want to get into something like that. You may pull a card that'll talk about the Sirian polarity. That the Sirians. So we have a polarity here on Earth, right? It's happening. Yeah. The Sirians, they almost extinguish themselves because they let the polarity grow so vast, and so we can learn from them. And these cards help you go through that if that's what you're dealing with that day, and other type of topics. So it's really cool if you want to get closer to our extraterrestrial family and their journeys, and how our journey can be very similar. That's a great way to do that. You feel a little more connected.
Yeah. Before we start wrapping up the show, again, where can people find you?
At angelandtraining.org has my books, and then also a page within that is awkwardawakening.com. And it'll just lead you to this book. Has a little more information, the outline, table of contents and stuff. Yeah, and certainly email me through that website as well.
Yeah, definitely. And for those who are listening, watch the show and you get to see the cover of the book. I wish we could do that.
Yeah, it's really
That's
incredible,
really
isn't it?
cool. I like how you got the star system and
Yeah, that's
that.
the center of the Milky Way going,
Nice.
looking at that, yeah. And then the design of the book, when I was in Egypt, I was introduced to the word Saba, and it's a hieroglyphic. And two key components of Saba is one, that rectangle with the double line on the top. Without the double line, it means a doorway. With the double line, it means gateway.
Ooh.
And that means there's things going in, out, and through that.
Yeah.
And then the stars on there, stars without a dot in the center mean stars. Stars with a dot in the center mean civilizations. And so that word Saba that has those two symbols in it are in the gateways or the doorways to the Holy of Holies in many of the temples in Egypt. And that's what got another kind of ET connection there.
Yeah. Huh. Almost like a Stargate.
Yes, very much, yeah.
Wow.
And it's important because we didn't talk much about this, but the first contact or the open contact is coming. You can almost see it in the news getting more, that's planned to get us more ready, desensitized, get rid of the fear.
Yep.
So
it's the 3-Eye Atlas, conversations on that. There was I just watched something last night with David Wilcock. He was talking about the moons of Saturn and how some of they have dozens of moons, and quite a few of them are showing heat signatures. One of them looks like the Death Star from Star Wars. Wow. Exactly, spitting image.
Wow.
And just the shape of them, they look artificial.
Oh, wow. So interesting.
Okay. And the heat signatures give you a proof that they might possibly be still inhabited.
Yeah. So it's coming. It's coming. Get ready for it. Don't be afraid. We're good.
Yep. We're not alone. We're definitely not alone.
Yeah.
So before we go, I have all our guests share some words of wisdom. What a quick takeaway.
For me, the change is coming. Change is happening automatically within us to make connection with spirit. And as a result, we are going to expand our view to incorporate our extraterrestrial neighbors. And don't be afraid. Just because something is unknown, it doesn't mean to be, it's not that it's bad. But get ready, move forward with courage and hope that things are in good hands.
Yeah. Quit watching the news.
Yes. Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh, yeah.
And social media. Stay off of it. Just talk to your friends.
Those two.
Whatever. Yeah. Oh, man. Ooh, Scott, doctor.
Thank you.
Namaste, my friend. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to read your book and maybe going to Mount Shasta myself. I don't know.
Yes, you'll definitely connect with Saint Germain there. He was definitely the first person that came through long before I went. Actually, he's the one I believe made me go. He's like, "You're going."
Yeah.
You're going. No, don't worry about the money. Go.
Right. Yeah. That was the same, the Egypt thing, same thing. So who knows? I might get that same directive.
Heck yeah. Blessings, my friend.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Very welcome. And thank you, everybody, for watching The Seance on Conscious Radio Network. Until next time, we'll see you then.